Hey, y'all, it's me, your host, Coach Pilar Arthur Sneed. Thanks so much for joining me here for another episode of The Last 10th. Now, you know, and I know this is literally my mantra every single week. I am so excited, like really, really excited. And because of the fact we just chatted like a little bit briefly before the show, I'm even more excited than I normally am to welcome Erica Williams, ultra runner, like phenomenal, amazing ultra runner to the show today. I am just so excited to have her on the show. I've been following her journey through various races over the course of the last year on Instagram through Black Runners Connection. So Erica, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Oh my God, thank you so very much. Your enthusiasm is infectious, and thank you. You make me. I'm blushing. Like I am not like I'm just this crazy girl who likes to suffer. Right? Definitely not ultra runner. I just like to get out there, right, and show people that like we can that running will meet us where we are. So I'm like an evangelist of that, and so that's
Yes,
what drives me to kind of get a whole bunch of people to come join in the fun.
I love that. I love that. A running televangelist. That's essentially when we drink the running Kool-Aid, that's
Yeah,
essentially what we become. We become like, hey, listen, you could probably do this. You could do this too.
always.
And
Yep,
you, and you.
exactly. It's like how many people have you converted? How many people have you converted? Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's the bad. That's the bigger badge of honor to me than like how many marathons have you done or how many ultras. Like how
yes,
many people have you brought into the sport? And then especially
yes,
through our connection with Black Runners Connection, how many
yes,
people of color have we brought along? Right?
yes.
It's just been when I started out a couple years ago. I'm used to even now. I mean, not to say it's like super different, but
Right.
at least I'm not always
Yes.
the only one there. So it's
Yes.
we're starting a little movement when we're starting to see some
Yes.
traction. So it's great to
Yes.
see.
Yes, I absolutely, absolutely love that. I love to know that Black and brown runners are getting out here and doing this thing and representing at the starting line. I think it's very important. And as they say in the Black Trail Runners organization, the other organization, representation matters. It really, really
It
matters. And
does.
I would say that it's because of you and several other runners that I have seen and that I've been chatting with over the course of this past year that I was like finally able to say, I'm going to do my own ultra marathon.
Yes, that's
Yes,
awesome.
you know.
That's amazing.
So it's
I love
just
it.
it's good stuff.
Yeah,
You've converted another one.
I love it. I love it. And it's just about saying that like it's totally accessible, right? That like
Yes.
you don't have to. And that's what I love about ultras more so than road races. Is like you don't have to be the fastest. No one's gonna come shut down nature,
That's
right?
right.
Like
That's,
they're not picking up the tables on the
that's right.
side of nature and picking up the cups that you've
That's
thrown. So it's like
that's right.
it's a lot more. It's a lot more generous. I actually competed. I actually finished a 24-hour ultra marathon before I'd ever done a full 26.2 marathon,
Wow.
and mostly because it was a 2 mile loop, and I just felt like, well, I could always get back to my stuff,
Yes.
and it's okay if I sit. And so I try to be really vocal about like kind of um, the easier parts of ultras, right? Like
Yes.
we get to eat real food.
That's
I
right.
walk
That's
I
right.
walk half of my damn races, and so I try to be very
Yes.
vocal, and so people understand that, like,
Yes.
especially in the pictures it can look like, oh man, she's out there crushing it, but like if I told you,
Well, you
I
are
hiked.
crushing it.
But okay, okay. What I'll say is, if I say like I did 40 miles right
Yes.
on Saturday, but
Yes.
I hiked 22 of those miles, right? Like
Yes.
now it starts to become like, I mean, it's still 18 miles that got
Yes.
ran in a 40
Yes.
mile day, but it's still a little less daunting than thinking like, oh my God, how am I ever going to run 40 miles? Because I don't know
Yes.
how I'm going to run 40 miles, but I can tell you
Right.
how I'm going to finish 40 miles, right?
Right.
Like that's a difference. Yeah.
Right. Yes. That right there is a line of thinking. Yes. Yes. I love that. Like that's like literally mind-blowing actually. Like I don't know how I'm going to run. this distance. I have no idea, but I can tell you I'm going to finish it. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
So,
just, yeah.
yeah. So tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. Like other than ultra running, I don't know that much more about you. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am. I work for Amazon. I'm
Yeah.
a senior program manager in our logistics arm. So that
Yes.
little blue van that shows up and hopefully delivers your package with care. I am ensuring that they have the right information to get your package to you on the
Yes.
first try and on the first
Yes.
day that it goes out. And then, sort of related to that, some driver safety and some other customer escalation stuff. But
Yes.
fully love working at Amazon.
Yes.
It's a super, I'm a high performer. It's a very stressful job. I lead
Mm.
a team of 11 people in my reporting chain. And so, I think it's a great counterbalance. Like running is a great counterbalance to kind of the self-inflicted, and I'll say self-inflicted. No one's forcing me to work late or on weekends, but I like to work. I
Sure.
genuinely enjoy my job. And so
Sure.
sometimes I have to like pull away because we're all better at work when we take a break from work. So easy,
Absolutely.
easier said than done. So
That's right.
running really pulls me away. And so my team says, I'm a pretty chill boss, but my team will say, like, we could tell when you've run before work. You know, I'm always pretty optimistic, but like when I run before work, I am bouncing off the walls,
You're
crazy,
just like,
like
yes,
hot.
this
That's it.
day is
That's it.
amazing.
I'm like, go kick some ass today. Have a kick ass day. Ah. And they're like,
They're like,
how many
oh
miles?
snap,
They're
Erica
like, how
ran
many? Yeah,
today.
they're like, how many miles you run? What kind of crazy race are you going to go do? And so, so running helps me balance that. But outside of working at Amazon, I'm married. We have no children. We have a crazy little crew of pets, two cats and a dog, and just kind of enjoying life in Lexington,
Yes.
Kentucky. Of all the places I ever thought I would end up, Lexington, Kentucky is certainly not one of them. But we have a really great life. My husband is a rock climber and is
Hysterical.
sort of trying to, yeah. I certainly did not think I would end up in Lexington, but you just remain open to the universe and it puts you exactly where you need to be, right? I've met the love of my life in
That's
Lexington,
right.
Kentucky. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. My husband's son lives in Lexington, and
Okay.
Lexington is as far as southern cities are concerned, it's a very sort of open-minded
Mm-hmm.
place. Not so what you might think of a southern city being,
Yeah.
I guess.
And
It's got
yeah,
a very northern feel to it.
it's a blue city in a red state, right? Same with
That's right.
Louisville. I started my Kentucky journey in Louisville, Kentucky. And so, right, you got these big universities, which already brings like diverse thought, diverse people. And so my husband is from Eastern Kentucky. So my husband is from some of the parts of Kentucky that you are probably imagining when we talk about
Well, I
Kentucky.
mean, that's where my husband is from. He's a Kentucky.
Yeah,
He's a Kentucky boy.
yeah,
He was raised around Ashland. Some of his kids live
okay.
in Ashland,
Oh
like the
yeah,
West
yeah, okay,
Virginia
yep,
Ashland.
yep, yep.
Whatever. When we went down for his son's graduation one time. We were, driving through some of these parts where it was like you're just like, wow. I
Yeah, yeah,
didn't know that people
yeah,
lived like this. I had
yeah,
no idea.
yeah, yeah. And it's just and right, and then what has been amazing though is so my husband is from coal country. His father worked in the coal mines. My husband worked in the coal mines in his 20s. So
Wow.
like that's how and so as we go back, there are no more coal mines. I know that drive to Ashland because Amazon has a location in Huntington. So
Yes.
I've
His
done that
daughters.
drive to
Yeah.
six yeah, done that drive to 64 a lot. And so you could see some of the old coal, right? Some of the old
Mm-hmm.
coal processing plants. And
Mm-hmm.
then you just come back to these towns and you're like, man, like it's just what happens is a totally decimated town right
Yes.
now. And so,
Yes.
but it's been nice to get out some of my own stereotypes and misconceptions out of my
Absolutely.
mind, right?
Absolutely.
Like my husband and I met through Bumble a couple of years ago, and we
Yes.
started out texting, right? And of course we knew what each other looked like, but we developed we developed a rapport and a bond that was just like through text messaging before we
Yes.
finally actually talked.
Yes.
And so like the first time he talked, he's got this real Eastern Kentucky accent. And I was like, man, like if we had actually just met, I probably maybe wouldn't have continued to talk to him, because I probably would have come in with these preconceived notions
Yes.
of like, oh my God. And
Yes.
so just really grateful for like for the power of text message. It's sort of like is it like maybe that's a new dating show that I could start, right? Where you can't hear each other, right? It's a
You could
deaf
just
date.
text.
Yeah, it's like it's not a blind date. It's like a mute date or something.
That's right. A mute date. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So funny.
I just go everywhere.
Well, my husband and I, we met the old-fashioned way. We met in a bar. I mean, that's the way we met. It was very simple, olden days times. Saw him across the room, and I said, "Oh, that guy. I like that guy. I think that guy's going to be my husband." So
why can't people do that anymore? Well, I can't do that because I don't drink. So I'd be like standing there awkwardly with my glass of water, like, "Can I be your designated driver?" like maybe that's my pickup. You look really drunk. Can I take you home? Then it would be really creepy. And
Oh my goodness.
But these kids today don't. Yeah, the kids today have no idea about
they
how
don't
to.
have it. They have no idea. No, they have no idea. Oh my goodness. Cracking me up. So how did you get started? How did you get started as a runner? Like at all? And then what was the progression, where it really, as they usually say, it escalated really quickly?
Really quickly. Yes. So my escalation was probably not so quick. I became a runner because I wanted to have Black girlfriends. So I moved to Chicago from New York City in 2007 or so, and I didn't really have a crew. My partner at the time was white. My husband's also white, but and so he didn't have a lot of friends either. So it was like, how am I making friends? And I didn't have like a lot of Black girlfriends at work, and so I was like, man, I need some. I have a twin sister.
Yes.
And I was just like, I need some sisters in my life, you know. Yes. And so I don't remember how I found them. It was maybe a Facebook group search or something, and it was the Soul Tri Sisters, is what they were called. They were a women's triathlon group in Chicago.
Okay.
I couldn't swim, and I didn't have a bike. And so I was like, well,
so
I can
you
run.
Started off really well.
What's that? I can run.
You were set. You were set.
Yeah, I'm in like playing. Like this is gonna go so well.
This is gonna be great. They're gonna be like, it's gonna be awesome. You're gonna be a great team member. It's gonna be fabulous.
But I figure I could run. Right? There's 3 parts of it. I figure I could run. So like running didn't require anything but a pair of shoes. And I mean, the pair of shoes I had is like the pair of shoes I literally just walked around in. These are my running shoes. And so I would show up, and
hopefully the shoes had laces. It wasn't a pair of loafers.
No, they did have laces. Although I did see that there's a guy who just took 6th place in some marathon, half marathon, wearing Crocs. His whole family wears Crocs.
I saw that too.
Right? Is that crazy?
I saw that
I'm thinking I should try Crocs, but I digress. So I just showed up, and so I started hanging around with these ladies, and they're like such badasses. I mean, to see Black women swimming, biking, running. The swimming thing was amazing, because I'm like, I'm scared of water. I've grown to believe the stereotypes that we don't swim. And just seeing this group of women who not only swim, but go swim in open water. They swim in Lake Michigan. It's just like amazing. And so I drank the Kool-Aid, but I didn't really train. Like I didn't train. So I drank the Kool-Aid, and I would go hang out with them, and I would run like, because you could do a half marathon and then you like sort of walk it, and a 10K. I think I can remember like one of my first 10K times was like an hour and 55 minutes or something. and it was fine, right? It was fine for who I was at the time and what I wanted to do. I was also about 250 pounds back then. I was a much heavier Erica. I drank a lot, I ate a lot. And so working with these guys, I started learning how to swim, got exposed to, I had a mountain bike I borrowed, but had done like a sprint, like the Chicago Sprint Triathlon. And so I thought I was going to be like a triathlete. And then
Yes.
actually in 2015, they said, like they started telling me, like CNN was looking for people to do their Fit Nation. So Sanjay Gupta is a triathlete. And
I
so
had
for a
no
couple
idea.
years, he's a major like he's done a lot of triathlons. And so Fit Nation I was part of the sixth season of Fit Nation. And so he would find a group of 6 people to basically train and change their lives and like learn about health and fitness, and then race the Nautica Malibu triathlon. And so I
Wow.
got selected. So Soul Tri Sisters was like, we should apply. All of us should apply. So I went, and you could see the people's videos who had
Yes.
submitted. And the videos were like, it's like, my daughter died and I've lost touch with myself and I just want to find myself again, or my marriage is in trouble. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get picked, right? These people
Yes.
have these crazy stories. So you could give it a title. And so my title was like, had fun getting fat, having fun getting fit. And I launched this video.
I love it.
And I just said, like, I have my story, like, I don't have a sad story. I don't have a life altering story. I got fat
Yes.
the old fashioned way,
Yes.
right? I drank a lot, I ate a lot, and now I'm
Yes.
trying to get fit the old fashioned way by,
Yes.
calories in, calories out, just not anything crazy. And so
Yes.
I got picked.
Wow.
And so they bought me a bike. They bought me a fancy ass tri-suit.
Wow.
I mean, a Garmin, whatever the Garmin 9 or whatever the highest end Garmin was in 2015, they flew us out to. We had an initial sort of kickoff in Atlanta. We had
Yes.
a midway training trip in California in the May. Then we had our triathlon in September. And so we had a coach who like loaded. So I was doing all this stuff. And if I'm honest, like, right, like, all of it was really superficial still, right? It wasn't like motivated by, right? Mostly like with Fit Nation, it was motivated by like, man, CNN invested a lot in me. I better make sure they get their investment back, right? And so like that's another kind of thing that comes in. I've been a scholarship kid, whether it be a Tony boarding school for high school or Ivy League for college. There's that sense of like, man, you put this investment in me, I better make sure you get your money back. So
Right.
I was still in that mindset. Like, I finished the triathlon, but I didn't change any of my habits, right? I might have dropped maybe 10 pounds, but the same 10 pounds that kept coming and going. So I didn't really change anything.
Right.
And then after the triathlon though, I did a full marathon. I did the oh God, it was Birmingham. I did what is it called? Anyway, I did a full marathon, and it
Yes.
was it was terrible. It
Yes.
was because I didn't really train. I would be like, I ran 3 miles on Thursday. I ran 6 miles on Saturday. Maybe running 3 times a week would be a good week for me. And so like, I just wanted to race, right? I wanted
Yes.
all of the fun. And I was with a whole bunch of people through different groups that I had
Yes.
spun out and met through the Chicago area, right?
Yes.
It was a social thing, right? And it was
Yes.
like, I got the sister friends I wanted, and then it became this, like, that we would do like this hills before grills before holidays and meet up and like, and so no, but it was great. But I still wasn't an athlete or a runner in
Yes.
my head.
Yes.
It was very social. And so that marathon will show you that like you can't take, like, 26.2 is no joke, right?
No,
And
it's not.
it took me 7 hours and 45 minutes
That's not
to
bad.
finish. It was horrific. The weather was cold. I had an early start, right? Because again, remember, you can't keep them tables up on the streets for too
There
long.
you go. There
But
you go.
I was so sore, and I didn't run another marathon again for 3 years.
Wow.
But I did a couple ultras. So anyway, life kept moving on, and I kept fighting the battle of the bulge. Still 250, trying every new fangled thing, and
Yes.
there's really really kind of unhappy. I was in a long-term relationship that was slowly and very much too slowly ending, probably, right? We should
Yes.
have just
Yes.
ripped the band-aid off, but we had a couple
Yes.
years of like just watching it die.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so toward the end, I just kind of got to the point where I was, they say it, but when you're really sick and tired of being sick and tired, and
Yes.
really just kind of, I got sober. So
Yes.
in October of 2016, I didn't mean to get sober. That's the funny thing is I stopped.
Accidentally got
I
sober.
did. I
Whoops.
did it. I did. It's so crazy. I
But
stopped
it's the best
drinking.
thing I've ever did in my
It is. It is. It is. I had no clue, and so that's why I
life.
try to scream it from the rooftops about how
Yes.
amazing it is, because no one was ever talking about it like that,
Yes.
right? It was like,
Yes.
oh damn, don't you feel bad for her? She can't have a drink, or is she gonna be okay? Like, right? So it still had that sense of like what you can't have, as opposed to
Yes.
all of the things that you have
You
unleashed in your life.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I
So
totally get
so
that.
I wanted to wear a bikini for the first time at this all-inclusive resort where my favorite band was having a Mexican holiday. And so I was doing CrossFit at the time. I told you I cycled through all of the workouts. I was doing
Yes.
CrossFit at the time. And I'm like, why am I not seeing results? And I had a food log, and my food was pretty okay. And the coach was like, well, there's all this drinking. Like, the drinking and you doing this, you're just treading water, basically. Like, you're not
Yes.
making things worse, but you're not making things better. And I was like, well, I'm
Yes.
going to wear this damn bikini.
Yes.
So I'm going to stop drinking
Yes.
it was October. I'm going to stop drinking from October to January,
Yes.
because the trip is in January to an all-inclusive resort with liquor dispensers in our room. So, of course, I'm going to drink again. So, I'm starting to see some results.
My goal is to not drink so I can drink all the things.
In a bikini, right?
In a bikini.
Let's not forget the bikini.
Okay.
I rock that damn bikini too. But it's so crazy. Like, yeah. Um, so, so I started seeing results, and then crazy things that started happening that I never expected. I was able to sleep through the night. I stopped snoring. My voice changed because all that drainage came out, and then it just, like, I just started feeling good. And I say, like,
yes.
you never know how bad you feel until you start feeling good.
That's
and so
right.
like I was feeling so good, and then maybe like 5 weeks in. I mean, the first few weeks were hard. I had to stay at home. I would come home from work and go to bed, like, to avoid, to avoid, to avoid the temptation, or feeling like the boredom. That was another thing, learning to sit in the boredom. But yeah, so like maybe like 5 weeks in, I later learned that alcoholics call it like the pink cloud. But I woke up one day and it felt like I had put glasses on for the first time. Like the world was like vibrating and buzzing, and the edges of life were like really sharp. It was like stepping into like Technicolor. It was crazy. I'm like, am I on drugs? Like, what is happening?
You're like,
here?
What is this?
I'm like, I like it a lot, but it doesn't last. Unfortunately, it's not like it doesn't last forever. But it lasted long enough that, like, I was like, man, I never felt like that from drinking. And so at that moment, what I told myself was, I wasn't gonna have another drink until I could answer the question. Right, I was in a situation where I would ask myself a question, or be able to say, alcohol will make this situation better. And so almost 5 years later, I have not encountered that situation. Right, I broke up with a boyfriend of 10 years. My dog died. Like, I got remarried to the love of my life. Through the worst parts of what happened, and through the best parts of what happened, the answer has never been yes, alcohol will improve it. And so here I go, just rolling on, in this sober life, and just really shouting out about, like, how great life is. So I don't have a sort of moral kind of conviction about alcohol. Sure. I mean, am I an alcoholic? Probably. My family has, a history of alcohol, problems. Sure. But I don't think you have to label yourself an alcoholic to say, like, is alcohol serving me? Or to question your relationship with it. Sure. And so, like, yeah, that's been the single kind of most, right, the biggest domino of all the dominoes that have fallen. So after I got sober, I think I finally had, like, the courage to just kind of get out of this relationship that was on its last legs for a few years. And then after that happened, there had been a race that I had been thinking about for a while. It was called the Trans Rockies Run. It's like six days, and through the 6 days, about 125 miles through Colorado. And I had seen it. I don't remember where I seen it. So maybe like Trail Runner magazine, something in passing. And so I remember thinking, like, well, I should sign up for this race. Yes. So I remember Googling it, and I found Myrna Valerio's blog, right? And Fat Girl Running, and like she had this blog. And unfortunately, she never finished her series about the Trans Rockies Run. But I
Yes.
remember reading, and she had like maybe the first 3 days, and I'm like, she's out there doing it. Oh my God, I could be out there doing it. And so
Yes.
I signed up on Christmas Eve of 2017 for the
Wow.
Trans Rockies run.
Wow.
And you know, I had dabbled in some races and some ultras, but again, never really serious, never something that's big and scary. But
Yes.
and then when you sign up for something big and scary, now you're gonna get your ass in gear and you're gonna start
Yes.
training, right? And I
Yes.
knew from so I hired a coach who had done the Trans Rockies run the year before. I started running regularly,
Yes.
and I just started really enjoying the process of training, right?
Yes.
Because I'm training for this trail race. We're doing a lot of trail racing. I'm starting to make friends in my new
Yes.
city of Lexington. And so
Yes.
all these things just sort of came together, and I started like building, what I say is that like I used alcohol to escape from life and to numb
Mm.
myself from life.
Mm.
And so like after I stopped drinking, I started spending that energy to create a life that I didn't want to escape from. And so
Yes.
slowly but surely, I like look up and I'm like, hey, I'm a trail runner, right? That was like kind of the first.
Yes.
Hey, I'm a trail runner.
Yes.
And in 2018, I signed up for 2 marathons. I did the Mercedes Marathon in Birmingham. And now,
Yes.
mind you, I hadn't really been training. I sort of took my first run in a few years' time.
Mm.
The day I broke up with my ex-boyfriend after 10 years. So that was like October of 2017. And I signed up for this marathon in March of 2018. And
Yes.
so I hadn't really done a lot of training, but what had happened was I started dropping weight. And so
Yes.
the second marathon on very little training, like just total willpower and the fact that I was lighter, I finished that marathon in like 6 hours and 38 minutes or something, right? And it was like,
Nice.
I was like,
Nice.
holy cow, like, right, that felt great. That was cool.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that got me motivated to keep training. And then I did Flying Pig that year. And again, I think that was like inching closer to 6 hours.
Yes.
And then the next thing I knew was like I'm running like a 5 hour marathon. And then by the time the last, well, not the last marathon, in 2019, when I started to 2019 was really like the last time I really started thinking about road marathons.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
I'm I'm firmly in Camp Trail. I'm in Team Trail Runner now.
Okay. Okay.
I just like the speed, and as to say, this year and last year maybe it'll change again. But in
Sure.
2019, I was so focused on speed. I had an amazing year of like, what'll happen if I fully commit, right? And
Yes.
to go from a 7 hour and 45 minute marathon to a 4 hour and 29 minute marathon in
Wow.
2019. Yeah, so that's like 4 years and 3 hours, 3 hours and change off a marathon.
Wow.
I trained my ass off in 2019, and just really found the joy and through of discipline. And but we're not meant to be in a training cycle forever, right?
No,
Training
no, not
cycle
that kind
so
of a high level of training
yeah,
cycle. That's
so
intense.
and then I did a lot of racing. I did 100 miler in September of 2019, and then 2 weeks later I did the Chicago Marathon, which I don't recommend.
Oh, I
And
love
then
the Chicago Marathon. It's my
yeah, that was
favorite.
so good.
It's my
And
favorite.
then I did the New York City Marathon a month later, and my body was like, sit down. And then COVID came, so
This
like
was it. This was in 2019.
yeah, and so
Uh-huh. Yeah, I raced a
then
lot in
yeah,
2019. Too
and
much.
too much. There is such a thing as too much,
Too
and
much. I
like
had a lot of races.
yeah. So it was just tough to. It was really tough to keep doing that on my body, and then COVID
Mm,
happened, and I really got down. Just a lot of work. I didn't run from January to August of 2020, January through July of 2020. I
yes.
had maybe a total of 150 miles, right? Like
Wow.
the total. I was just not running.
Yes.
And then I sort of was hiding out. Like COVID was really scary, work was really busy,
Yes.
and I had been burnt out. But I missed all my friends, and we couldn't
Yes.
do anything, right?
Yes.
Except be outside. Like
That's
being
right.
outside was safe. And
Yes.
so I'm like, well, I'm going to be outside. And August of 2020, I started running again.
Yes.
And I hit like 280 miles that month of just like random,
Wow.
random.
And
Yeah, random.
you were in no pain.
What's that?
You were in no pain.
280 miles or something in August. And then Then we tried a 100-miler on our own in September. We did 50 before my partner gave up. We tried another 100-miler on our own in October.
I
My partner,
remember
yeah,
this.
yeah. My partner dropped out at 60 miles on that
You
one,
were like
and
running around your neighborhood or something.
this one like 3.5-mile trail.
Yes, I remember. I remember
Before,
that.
yeah, and so it's been nice to be back on the upswing, and so coming into 2021. I think also too, part of the burnout of 2020 was seeing all those races canceled. I had
Mm,
planned to do London. I had
mm,
planned to do this trail race in the Azores outside of Portugal.
mhm.
And so like seeing all that stuff kind of get canceled was like, well, what am I running for then? And so it's been great. Like I think since August of last year, the running has been about like just the joy of running, right? Like I
Yes,
don't have a 100-mile race scheduled, but let's go run 100 miles. And so as
yes,
races have been opening up this year, I'm trying to remember, right, to have some sort of balance. I don't have to go off and do everything, but also trying to have some fun races as well, not just kind of like, I'm going to go out and be super aggro and do this 200-mile race, which I'm training for. But I also want to, I'm in Miami this weekend, running with Aisha. We've been Facebook friends for a really long time.
yes.
And it's our first time meeting each other in person.
That's
And we're
so
going to do this
great.
50-mile relay together. And so just making sure that like also holding space for the fun stuff that
Yes,
might not, my coach is like, how is this going to help you in Tahoe? And I'm like, because I'm going to enjoy myself and keep running through the rest of the year. Right.
that's
So
right.
not everything needs to be this perfect fit into the,
Hardcore.
yeah. So
So
I'm learning. Yeah.
you have said so many things, and I was literally riveted from start to finish, right? Because we had one question and it just kind of went from, just all the way. But I love that because I love it. I just love it. You said that when you had the fitness friends or fitness nation or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
was, that you
Yep.
didn't have like quite a great story at that time. But what happened was is that one thing is what unraveled the story
Yeah.
for you, right?
Yeah.
It was like that was just the beginning of the story. That was the thing that kind of took you on this journey. And then um in talking about alcohol, I've had conversations on the show about the alcohol thing. And I relate very much to a lot of the things that you were talking about in that regard. In 20, maybe 18, maybe 2018 or something like this, I said, oh, I'll take a dry month, you know, in February. I'll just go,
Yeah.
go dry from February until March or something like this. And in that month, like that short month of going dry, I was just like, I started same sort of thing started to happen. I was like, oh, how nice is it to wake up and not have cotton mouth? Huh. Interesting. Gee, I didn't know that I was like running dehydrated like
Yeah.
90% of the time that I was running, like little things. And I just started to like enjoy how I felt when I didn't drink alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to when I did. So I wouldn't say that I like similarly, like I purposefully went sober, and I don't really consider myself sober because I do like drink a beer on occasion,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's my relationship to alcohol is much
That's
different than
it.
the way that it used to be.
That's it.
It used to be that I was like, I have to
I
have it.
need it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need it.
This is my stress relief. And you're like,
That's
no,
right.
it's gonna
If
delete some
I
more.
don't,
Yeah.
if I don't have a beer with dinner, I am literally gonna die. Literally gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, what is gonna happen? I mean, I would send my husband out, you've got to go and get some beer. We need some beer. You gotta
But
go
it's,
and get
yeah,
that.
right. But that's because that's what that's all we get told. You know
you,
what I
you,
mean?
you know?
That's what gets pumped into us. It's like,
Yeah. And now it's just kind of like, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. Sometimes I'm like, it'd be really nice. It's a hot day. I'd like to have a beer. I have one beer. I'm done.
but yeah, and I think here's what you're saying is like you're making conscious decisions about your intake, right?
Mm,
And that having that month helped you give you a chance to examine that relationship. So many of us are just on autopilot, right?
mm,
And so what fits your life and what fits my life don't have to look the same. I'm not a sober warrior. I want to support anybody who wants to examine their relationship with alcohol.
Yes.
Because the default is dangerous, right?
Yes.
The default tells us that like getting wasted 3 times a week and binge drinking as women in college is cool and fun, and like, so I just want to be like, hey,
maybe you don't need it.
or hey, I'm an example of the opposite of what you hear, right? I'm having a lot of fun.
That's right.
And so if you have questions or just getting people to have that conversation or think about it is really important, because you've changed your relationship with alcohol.
Yes. And something that you also mentioned in that telling of your story is that, like, when you were home and you were not like not having a drink, was like this sort of boredom of like, this boredom. And I remember having sort of like a similar like feeling like, oh gosh, I'm like watching TV, like what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have like a beer that I'm drinking. Well, you could drink water. I mean, that's okay. What am I like, this terrifying feeling of like, okay, like I've got friends and it's going to be a social gathering. And what if I decide that I'm not going to have a drink at this social gathering? Not even so much are my friends going to accept me, but like, what am I supposed to do? Because they're drinking and I'm not. And they're going to be getting lit and having fun, but I'm not. I'm going to be well aware of like whatever.
I'm here. I'm well aware that you've told me this story 12 times. Like that's the way. The thing about being the sober person is, I hear everyone's stories like dozens of times. They can't remember. They already told me. I'm like listening to it again for the first time and like smiling and nodding, like yeah, okay.
So like this sense of like, maybe I'm not going to be a part of the group anymore. But it takes time to get to the point where you're just like, you know what, it's okay. Because listen, I got a 17-mile run in the morning and I'd rather be sober.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I much prefer that than the drink that I'm going to have. That's going to be more fun for me than having a party with my glass,
Yeah.
So.
And I certainly lost some friends. I won't, but then you think about it and you're like, were those really friends? Or those were drinking? I lost drinking buddies. I didn't lose real friends. And so, I think I went out of my way initially to show people that I was the same Erica. And so like, I went out of my way to, put up with, be in situations that didn't make me comfortable, or to, sort of, create this self-deprecating humor about what was becoming important to me. And so like I would order a cranberry and soda before, when no one was around, or, and so it like looks like I'm drinking, so I can make them comfortable, right? And so it's like eventually it was like, what? I didn't give up this yoke for this new yoke. No.
That's right. I'm not here for that. I'm just not here for that. Like, it is what it is. I'm drinking water. I'm good. Y'all will have to feel the way you feel.
What I tell people is, I won't make it weird if you don't make it weird.
That's right. That's it. There you go.
You do you, I'll do me, and then we can just enjoy each other's company,
and we'll have fun.
I think it's like a Sesame Street song or something. Okay. Yeah.
I love everything about what you've shared. So to kind of like just swing back to your ultra running journey, what would you say has been, I guess, two sides of the coin? What would you say has been the most challenging, and what's been the most maybe uplifting part of your journey through ultra running?
Most challenging piece, I'd say the pressure we put on ourselves, right? I see, and I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty with it, but even I'm human. We're human, and we're hardwired to want to be part of the pack, to want the pack protection. And so, like, I think, like, especially in like running in general, ultra running for sure, but running in general, we have this sense of what a runner looks like.
Yes.
We have this sense of how fast a runner is.
Yes.
I think there was just a crazy comment thread on Black Runners Connection yesterday about elliptical versus treadmill versus real running miles, and what is the speed. And you know, I sort of chimed in that like running's not about speed, it's about propulsion. Like if both of your feet leave the ground, no matter how slow that happens, you're running, right?
Yes.
We can call it jogging, but that's running. And
yes.
so there's just so much energy spent, I think, on policing runners, if that makes sense, right?
Yes,
like,
I agree.
You're a runner, you're not a runner, but the person who's telling me is like who made you the guy? And so
yes,
I think it's definitely more pervasive in road running, right? Which is part of another reason why I've sort of drifted toward trail running. And then I think that probably leads me into the most joyous and most best parts of running. It's just this community. I was able to post on Global Running Day. I just took some random pictures of running with friends. And I mean, I just get to run with a lot of different people and of different backgrounds that I would never necessarily ever think to cross paths with. Running gave me a community in Chicago of sister friends who I still love with all of my heart and soul today. Running gave me a new community of really crazy and interesting people in Lexington, Kentucky. And running has taken me around the world. I mean, around the world. And so I think like it's just two sides of the same coin. Like feeling a lack of connection in road running with the sense of like, how fast are you? And, you know, it just be really crazy conversations because ultimately, right, whether intentional or not, right, if you have to shut down a street, if you have to shut down a city to do a road marathon, there's only a certain amount of time that you can do that for, right? And so somebody's going to get left out. And so when somebody gets left out, now there becomes a value judgment attached to it, right? No one's saying that like this race is better because it has a longer cutoff time or they don't respect runner. And so then, they use that as this other kind of cloak for these other conversations, these like dog whistle conversations. We know them about race. And so it's similar about speed or about, and so I don't like that. And then the only thing I wish, as far as like the joy of trail running, and this gets back to representation matters, is I want to see more people like me. If we go to a world major marathon, and when I did Berlin in 2018, we were 60 Black people deep, right? We have this amazing picture in front of the Brandenburg Gate. We're in our black and abroad shirts. And that, I mean, I get goosebumps talking about it. That was powerful. I want to have a moment like that in trail running, right? I want, when is our watershed moment coming for trails, right?
You're giving me goosebumps.
Yeah, I want to be part of it, right? I want to be part of that change that says like, come on, let's go do this and show people that it's not as scary as they think it is. And that trail running doesn't mean ultra running, right? We can go do a trail 5K. Exactly. And so that's it. I can't wait for the day when before we go, you and I are going to meet up at a trail race and we're going to have 50 deep. I won't even jump there. We're going to have 20 deep. We're going to have a, Black trail runners meetup and 20 of us doing this race. And like just the start of this inclusion, right? Because people got really rich last year. People got really rich last year talking about diversity and inclusion in the outdoors and all this lip service shit. I mean, come on. Companies got real rich last year. And what are we seeing in action? What are we seeing? Because some of those same companies, on Instagram, we discover are trying to get people, Black, Indigenous, and people of color to come and be their DEI experts unpaid, right? Or for some merchandise or for some. And so it's like, again, it's a moment for us to say like, all right, that's cool that you recognize it, right? It's like sort of like what's happening with Juneteenth right now. It's cool that you
right.
recognize it.
That's really
But
great. But
like,
also it needs to be taught in schools.
yeah, and yeah, and also now that you recognize it, how are we gonna how are we gonna talk about equity? How are we gonna
Yes.
bring others along? And so
Yes.
I wanna try. I haven't figured out a real great way yet, other than trying
Yes.
to keep signal boosting. I just want to be part of that, like part of that movement, part of that like voice, part of that team that helps like tell others like you belong here and like
Yes.
come on, we can do this together. So
I
that's
mean,
kind of yeah.
I think that just by, and I've said this before, um, that I think that by us just showing up, that we are, number one, we are in an act of resistance. And number two, we are changing the landscape. And
Mm-hmm.
these conversations between two Black women are changing the landscape, where somebody who might turn on this podcast, they might hear it and go, oh, you know what? I could probably do that. I
You
probably
can do
could
it.
do that. I
If you're
can,
the
you
first,
know,
you can do it. You can do it. You should do it. Right? Yeah.
and it's, you know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
I think that slowly but surely things will change, and they are changing. And I don't necessarily think that things are changing because of the big companies that pay it lip service. It's
No.
happening because of people like you who are out on the street and making it happen. And that's why it changes. Because it
Mm-hmm.
can't, if I don't see me being represented, I can't be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I said it before at the beginning. It really is because of women like you that I even started to contemplate the idea of like my own self going out to do like a 35-mile race. And I was the only Black woman who showed up at the starting line. The only one in the middle of Queens, New York.
Yeah. That's craziness.
I mean,
Yeah. If not Queens, right? Then certainly not Lexington, Kentucky.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I was there and I did it, and maybe somebody else will say I could do it too. So
Somebody's gonna see that picture. Like I saw Myrna, right? I saw Myrna when I just thought about this race, and I was like, man, she's out there doing it. I can do it. And somebody's gonna see that random picture of you and be like, I can do it too. And that's
word
just, isn't it crazy, dude? Would you ever have thought that you would be a trailblazer
for, you
or
know what?
a running
I
trailblazer?
never, I say this at least like once a week. I was literally one of those people in 2015 or 2014 who, you know, and you said this earlier on, you said, I got fat the old fashioned way by drinking and eating a lot. That's the way that's what I did. So, you know, I was in 2015. I was like, you know what? This is not the life that I want to lead for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not envision this. I did not envision that I would have a podcast where I would talk to people about running. I didn't envision that I would run a 5K, let alone marathons, and think that at some point in time in the future, oh, maybe I could like run more miles and more hours in a day.
Yeah.
It's just not something I could have ever envisioned for myself. But this is what has happened. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's amazing, right? It's
It's
just
crazy. It's amazing.
you realize there are no limits, right? The only limits are those that you put on yourself. And
Yes.
the best thing about running is all of the lessons and the confidence I bring back to real life.
Yes.
That is the biggest thing that keeps me running, right? It's
Yes.
like things seem really bleak. I'm in a pissy mood, like just getting out there and
Yes.
and getting my head clear. I have developed a confidence, right? The day after we finished our self-supported 100-miler in October,
Mm.
I took 2 days, or I finished. My partner dropped at mile 60, but you know, I took 2 days off work. He was so focused on, that's the other thing. He's so focused on time. The time we started, he's like, this, if we do this, and I like, dude, stop talking about time. Like I said, I took 2 days off work. As long as I
Yes.
finish before I need to be back at work on Wednesday, we'll be good.
I'm good.
So when I got home, that night, after running it, you have that confidence, and there's always that catharsis where you're like, where I cry. I am really type A. I'm very unemotional. We don't really we haven't shown emotion except enthusiasm. But like, if I don't deal with like emotion well, like real emotion, tears and like, I don't deal with it well, which is probably why when I drank, I would be like the sad drink. But like, on these races, you reach a point where you're just so tired that those walls come down. And I have to tell you that all of the best cries of my life have come in the midst of some crazy physical challenge where I just have no more energy to keep these walls that I've created for myself up. And I come back to real life feeling like the biggest badass ever, but also like I've had a reset. And so after the 100-miler in October, I got home and I looked at my work email and I saw, oh no, tomorrow I have a review with the director of my org to talk about, I don't know, something. And I wasn't prepared. I hadn't written anything. And I laid on the couch, and instead of like doing what I would do and get up and go trying to pull an all-nighter, I just laid there and said, nothing in my life is going to be harder than running 100 miles on a 3.5-mile trail.
That's it. That's it.
And so I just come back to it. It's like the biggest confidence booster ever, is just you did it.
Yes.
And even when you don't do it. So I'm learning something new. I share all of the great stuff. I had a great running career for myself, setting goals, hitting those goals. What I'm learning this year is about failure, and I'm learning so much. I'm coming off my second DNF, did not finish ever.
Yes.
Both of them have happened this year. The first happened in May at the Cruel Jewel 56-miler in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Yes.
And the most recent happened Saturday of last week at the Warhammer 100 in London, Kentucky. And so, I'm learning new lessons this year, right? Which is, everybody needs a good beat down. I need everybody a good beat down.
But I feel like running is like that. Like running and life, I feel like what running allows you to do is two things. It allows you to win in a controlled environment so that you can take that win and go back to life, as you said, and say, nothing could be as hard as what I just did. That was hard. And it was painful. It hurt a lot. And nothing is going to hurt like that hurt. That was like it's physical bodily pain. And then the second thing is that running allows you to fail in a closed environment, so that you fail and you learn, right? Like, so whatever the distance is, it doesn't matter. You head out for a 3-mile run and you it's hot and you're just like, I can't do this today. So you failed. So what? Big deal. Tomorrow you can go out and you can try it again. Nobody's going to call the failure police and be like, oh my God, you failed. You didn't do it. you know what I'm saying? Because you tried.
Yeah. I've learned so much in these failures. And if I'm honest, they've been probably number one and number two best races, most funnest races of my short race career, right? That like put me so far out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
And again, that cracking open that happens when you're just pushed to your limits.
Yes.
Just to experience that in this controlled environment, right? That I don't have to jump out of a plane to do it. I'm just running up and down some trails in Kentucky or or Georgia. But yeah, I'm hoping, right? I'm here in Miami this weekend.
Yes.
I'm hoping we are gonna get our 50 in.
Yes.
But yeah, I think like the DNF makes me go, what happened here, right? And I think in this last one, the hugest lesson, I just was posting about this. I've been preparing for the Tahoe 200 race in September. I've been saying, I'm going to do this alone. I do most of my races alone without crew. My first 100-miler, I had a stranger from the internet who I met, and we got tight. He came and supported me and like did the last 60 miles with me. So, wow. I mean, that was just incredible. But like for the most part, everything else I've done alone. And so the last race, Warhammer 100 last weekend, It was a race participant that I was leapfrogging with, and he had a friend out there crewing him, and I knew his friend, and so I could remember us coming into the first aid station together, and his friend like coming in, giving him a hug, was like taking pictures, and then I like singing him off, and I'll see you at Cumberland Gap, and then we kept going, and we got to Cumberland Gap, and like he took a seat, and like just so when I came home, and I was like, I need help, right? I'm gonna do 200 miles.
Yes.
I need help. I can't do this alone. I want it more than I want to show that I'm tough and can do it by myself.
Yes.
We don't do any of this alone. And so now my husband is going to come and crew. My landlord is a maybe to come and pace, and my best running friend is going to come pace me at night. And we're starting to build a little group that's going to come out and support me. And I think now I'm learning, right? Especially as Black women, I don't have to be so fiercely independent. Saying I need help doesn't make me weaker. It makes me smarter, more strategic to understand that my time and energy is going to have to be spent doing the running, and somebody else's time and energy.
Give me a high five.
Yeah.
You therapied. You just therapied the heck out of yourself on that 40-mile run.
Man, for real. It's just like,
and all you had to do is pay a race fee.
That's it, right? And you should have seen them feet. I paid a little bit in the feet, but they're all good now. But yeah, just like, I think like, but those are the lessons that come from running. I mean, what else? I don't listen to music when I'm on the trail, and I'm out. I was out there for 13, 14 hours. What else are you thinking about for 13, 14 hours? Besides what you're going to eat when you're done, that's number one. What am I going to eat after this? That gets me back to my car.
Who's got some dinner?
Yeah. It's like, when are we going to eat? Yeah. So that's the beauty is just finding those lessons. And so this year has been all about like finding like the lessons in failure. And so now I think I have enough failure for the year. I'm ready to turn it around. I got what I needed. And now let's see if I can convert it into action.
You got it. I think that is amazing. You should have a crew for 200 miles. My only crew is my husband. My husband has crewed me since my first marathon in 2017, and he usually is my only support person, because my family is basically just like, we don't.
What are you doing?
What is this?
What you're doing? What kind of lessons do I need to tell my husband to make him a good crew member?
He should definitely have a map of the course, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's like a loop, like a loop course.
But yeah, he should have it.
He should have a map of the course, and he should essentially like have a bag, full of your goodies, a bag or bags, a trunk. It's 200 miles. So he's probably going to need like a whole cooler full of stuff. And essentially like, it should all just be like, just be waiting there for you whenever you need it. When you come around, he needs to like, essentially just kind of like anticipate by the look on your face when you come around the corner. You need some water? Yes, I got water. There you go. You need something to drink? What do you need? Here you go, something to drink. You need some food? You got, you know what I'm saying? So that you just are just ready and just well cared for. That's it.
I feel like this is going to be like a pampered race. I mean, at 200 miles pampered, but like, attend to my need, man. Attend to my need.
I mean, he's still gonna have to go, go to the bathroom, do whatever, do his own thing too.
Oh, he's gonna have plenty of time to do that.
You know what I'm saying?
But 100-hour cutoff.
But yeah, and have a change of clothes for you if you need your clothes changed and all that. He just needs to have it all there and just be ready to just chill for a couple of hours and cheer you on when you need it.
Very many hours. But yeah, I will give him this advice. I think we'll practice some crewing.
Yes.
So we can get it in. So he can see my angry ultra face. Like, if I'm yelling at you in the middle of an ultra, do not take it personally. It's not about you. I'm just a raging bitch right now. My feet hurt and my back hurt. And I want it to be over.
That's right. And also the number one thing is to not say, you're almost there.
Oh no, the number one thing, this is probably why I do not have a crew. The number one thing to do is not to tell somebody to stop. I
That
had
too.
a
Keep going.
my first 24-hour race. My partner at the time, of course I was hurting, right? Like it's supposed to hurt, but I'm not
Yes.
hurt, right?
Yeah,
Difference between
that's right.
hurting
That's
and
right.
being
I'm
hurt.
not dying right now.
Exactly. And so he spent a lot of time and energy trying to get me to stop.
Ooh,
And
no,
it's
no,
like
no.
that, like, dude, you're like messing with my mental. Like I don't have the
Nah.
energy to like. And so ever since then, I think that's probably look here. I'm go therapying myself again. It's probably like a mental blockers. I don't want somebody else to show up and be like, right, like first of all, not understand.
Yes.
Right, that even though I'm in pain, like I'm gonna be okay. It
Yes.
sucks to see somebody you love like
Yes.
suffer,
Yes.
and then like don't tell me to stop.
No,
Like so
but it seems like just from what I've seen via Facebook that your husband does understand what you're kind of, he understands what you're going through. And I think that that is for me, when my husband is out on the course, that for me, having that one person who I can look to, who, so as a, for example, in the 35 miler I just did, I had told you before we started chatting that, I got to like mile 30 and I was like, oh no, that mile 30, I don't want to do this anymore. Then it was like then I came around a corner and I can only like count down on a course. Like I can only like do enough math in my head to count down. Okay, I got
yeah.
5 miles to go, 2 miles to go. That's all I can do. So it was a looped course. So I
Oh
came
God.
around the corner and I was like, how many more loops do I have to do? And he said, you've got 2 more loops to do. And he must have just seen my face was just like, okay.
Oh God. Oh God.
And he was like, no, you can do it. You got this. You got this. It's okay. It's just 2 loops. You got it. You can totally do this. And then the last loop, he came out on the course and he ran the last loop with me.
Oh, that's
So
super sweet.
that's the ultimate in crew, in
Yeah.
positive and not say like I hurt a lot. You probably hurt a way more than I do at any given point in time in a 100-mile race. So
No, yeah, it's just yeah. I like these lessons. I'm gonna share them with him, and we'll report back after Tahoe in September.
excellent,
We'll
excellent.
report back if we're still married.
Excellent. Erica, it has been an absolute pleasure and joy to chat with you today. I feel like I've known you my whole life just in this conversation. It's just been really wonderful. And I really do hope that at some point in time in the future, we do get to meet out on the trails.
Yes, let's make it happen. I will make it happen. I try to get to New York a little bit every other year is what I'm trying to do, but COVID kind of threw a wrench in that.
Absolutely.
I am
Absolutely.
I am a big fan, but Pilar, thank you so much. This has
Thank
been
you.
like
Thank you.
amazing to talk to you, and thank you for letting me drone on and on and on because
It was
I
wonderful.
love to talk
Wonderful.
and just really proud of the work that you're doing to spotlight other runners, other women, and just your beautiful smile. Like just keep being that signal boost for us and representation matters. And you're out here making sure that our voices are heard. So just big thank you to you for doing all the work that you do. You're one of the unsung heroes of the
Thank
movement
you
to
so
to
much.
get us out there. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. Have an awesome race. Awesome race. Go get them. Go get them.
Thank you.